Albany facing a $4 billion deficit and what he labeled a federal assault on New York, Gov. Andrew M. Cuomo Wednesday worked to establish himself as a bulwark of progressivism against Donald J. Trump's Washington and policies he claims shot an arrow aimed at New York's economic heart. Whether the Republican-dominated state Senate cooperates with him now remains a major doubt. But, after Cuomo's 92-minute State of the State message that challenged the president on all sorts of levels, there is no doubt as to where the governor stands. And if it enhances his run for a third term, as well as speculation that he might even bring his beefs directly to Trump in 2020, well, that might be okay, for some people, too. I would like to see him run for president. I think he would be an excellent president, said Mayor Byron W. Brown, Cuomo's state Democratic chairman. The governor made it clear the state has not yet begun to fight, he added. Assemblywoman Crystal D. Peoples-Stokes, D. Buffalo, seemed to sum up Cuomo's looming agenda of balancing the state budget in the face of new challenges from Washington while keeping one eye trained on a national candidacy. This speech is clearly a presidential speech, she said, immediately after the address. At the same time, we've got to get past this budget. That sentiment dominated the opening day of the 2018 legislative session. Cuomo has a state to run, and claimed repeatedly Wednesday that Trump and a Republican Congress are not making it any easier. At one point, he even explained the ancient concept of e pluribus unum out of many, one, and challenged Trump to turn around in his Oval Office chair to read that inscription on the presidential flag. It all seemed to buttress the role Cuomo is enthusiastically embracing of challenging Trump and the new tax overhaul policies he says deliberately aim at Democratic states like New York. Our federal government is working to roll back so much of what we have done, Cuomo said, reciting a litany of progressive policies he says are threatened by Republicans in Washington. We cannot, we must not, let those things happen in the great state of New York, he added. Cuomo plans overhaul of state tax codes, will sue to block federal bill. For Democrats, the speech provided a reinvigoration for many of their progressive policies. The state's Planned Parenthood president, for example, seemed thrilled by Cuomo's annual defense of abortion rights because of the threats she sees emanating from Trump's Washington. Based on all the federal attacks, it's a relevant issue, said Robin Chappell. There's definitely a federal threat to reproductive health care and abortion rights that the state can't ignore. The word progressive seemed to enter many Capitol conversations Wednesday, especially among Democrats. I think it was a very democratic message, progressive message, Assembly Speaker Carl E. Hesty told reporters. Cuomo worked hard to underscore his traditional theme that government can work as a force for good. He asked hundreds of invited guests to stand and represent what he called the 7-year accomplishments of his administration. They included those he said benefited from legalizing same-sex marriage, increasing the minimum wage, establishing paid family leave and prosecuting violent police.